Welcome to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. It's hot. It's miserable. We are under a heat advisory. So what are we going to do? Heat up the kitchen and show you how to use up a bunch of tomatoes. Come along. Look at this. The garden has been giving me lots and lots of tomatoes. And I've got an abundance of them. I've already tried to use up all my tomatoes in different kind of recipes, and I've been looking for ways to eat tomatoes. I've eaten them fresh. I've made tomato soup. I made a tomato curry, and it was so good I'm going to make it again. So today I'm going to show you how to make a tomato curry that will use up some of your tomatoes, and it's delicious. All right, here's our ingredients. We're going to need about 4 teaspoons or tablespoons of oil. Just eyeball it. We're going to need some mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon. We're going to need some cumin seeds, 1 teaspoon. We're going to need a pretty good sized onion. Purple is kind of the one I see people use all the time, so we've got purple onions. I just processed some that I've had in the garage. So we're going to need turmeric powder, and I'll put the recipe in the info section. And you're going to need to find some garlic, ginger garlic paste. They had this at my regular grocery store in the international section. You're going to want to get some peppers of some sort, green chili peppers. The 2 top ones are Serrano peppers, and they cook down to not have, these don't have much spice at all. So I also got some Thai chili peppers out of the backyard garden, some little guys there. We'll see if we can put some little pops of heat in there. And you're going to need 1 kilogram or 1,000 grams of tomatoes. I've gone a little bit over, and I'm going to show you how I cut these and core them and get out all the pithy parts that I don't like to eat. So let's get going. Now, what I failed to say earlier is you can eat this as a vegetarian dish with just these ingredients that I've shown you, or you can add some protein, some meat. I'm going to add some shrimp. You'll want about 4 tablespoons of a neutral oil. I'm using grapeseed oil. You could use vegetable oil. I used avocado oil yesterday, but I'm all out. And let's get that in there, enough to cover the bottom of your cooking vessel. I'm going to use this cast iron enameled crock pot. And we're going to turn the heat on pretty high at first. We're going to get this nice and shimmery, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of mustard seed and a teaspoon of cumin seed and let those saute in there and release those essences. Now, a curry is a Southeast Asian and Indian dish that, well, a curry is a sauce type that's made with certain spices that make it a curry. And for this particular curry, it's mustard seed and coriander seed. That's a very common curry flavoring. And curries, there's all different kinds of curries. It depends on where you're eating or where the recipe originates. There's all different kinds. So we've got our 2 main spices in, and we're frying them for about 2 minutes. Then we'll add our onions in and reduce the heat. A curry is kind of like a generic term, right? Think about gravy. If I say, do you want some gravy? I could be talking about white gravy, sausage gravy. Starting to spit at me, so we'll cover it for a minute. I could be talking about brown gravy. I could be talking about the natural drippings off of the turkey gravy. There's all kinds of gravy. Just like curry, there's all different kinds of curry. Want to get these onions all coated in that oil. We want to let these onions cook until they start to soften up a little bit. In the meantime, let's chop tomatoes. All right, after our onions start to soften up a bit, that's when we add our chili peppers and let them cook for a few moments. We're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Here comes the color. When we add our chilies, we're going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Stir that all up. It's almost like a stir fry. And then we convert over to a stew. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of ginger garlic paste, and I'm going to have heaping teaspoons because I like it. We're going to add our tomatoes. And we're going to cover and let this cook until these tomatoes essentially liquefy. Excuse me. And we're going to take the time to prepare our shrimp because they've got to cook too. Now you can cook this down as much as you like. You can leave it a little chunky. There are still some ingredients we need to put in here. Let's give it some salt. Salt will help carry out or extract liquid from the tomatoes. About a teaspoon of salt. You can salt it to taste later if it's not enough. Let's mix that in. I've got so many tomatoes and so many more coming in on the vines outside, but the garden is ugly, y'all. The garden is a weedy mess right now. It is a weedy mess. Summer is not my favorite time to garden. So you're just gonna have to endure some more cooking videos as I show you how to use what we grow in the garden. All right, let's cover that and let it cook and prepare our shrimp. All right, I've got some shrimp here. These are wild caught right out of the Gulf of Mexico, so they'll be big brown shrimp. Call them prawns if you want. Look at these bad boys. Man, that's huge, isn't it? Carry you away. We're going to take the heads off, just pinch them, and you get this handy little tool here. We're going to devein them. Deveining, because you don't want to eat shrimp poop. And there's your meat. These are too big for this deveiner. Might have to just do this the old-fashioned way. Keep your shells. You can make a nice shrimp stock with those. Yeah, this deveiner is too puny to handle these gigantic shrimp. But that's what we want to get out of there. That vein right there. Yeah, you know if you've eaten a shrimp that wasn't deveined. I'm just going to cut my shrimp up into little bite-sized pieces. This will help them. I mean, they cook in minutes. And that's just enough for me. 5 shrimp. Put as much as you like in there. And when it's almost ready to serve, we're going to drop these into our curry and let them cook about 3-4 minutes. It's about now I'm going to put my rice on. This is the dish best served over rice. You could eat it with traditional breads, but I like the rice. And I love my rice cooker. Let's check it. It's been, about 10 minutes, and you can see our tomatoes are cooking down, losing their juice. It smells so good. I'm going to cook this until these tomatoes mash real easily and fall apart. Essentially, I don't want any tomato chunks in there. I want a tomato-based sauce. There'll be a few chunks in there. You'll have your seeds and skins, that's okay. But you want them all to kind of break down. So in just a little while, we'll add our shrimp, and we're going to add some chili powder to this, about a teaspoon, maybe more if you like it that way. I also am going to put some cayenne in here because I like the heat. This is cayenne from my garden. I'm going to put in that much twice. So about, what, a teaspoon? I'm going to add about a tablespoon of chili powder. Now this is kind of Southwest chili powder, but it's all the same essentially. Use what you got, right? Chili powder. About a tablespoon. See how we've darkened it up with that chili powder? This is nice and spicy now. You could put a bay leaf in here. You could put coriander, fresh coriander leaves in here. That's cilantro. In fact, that's traditional, but I didn't get any when I went to the store today. I don't really care for cilantro as part of a dish, so you can skip it. If you have some, use it if you like it. If you're of the group of people that coriander and cilantro taste like soap, well, just skip it. I'm going to put some parsley in there for some green flake, just for aesthetics. Folks, I want to give you an update about Phoebe. Phoebe got a skin infection, had open sores on her skin. It was so bad that and she's so fat she can't get around to scratch or itch, so she was in misery. It got so bad that we had to take her to the pet ER, and that was a big ordeal. But she's on medication, on steroids and painkillers, and she's doing much better now. The steroids cause her to pant a little bit, and she's thirsty, but she's much more comfortable, and she's doing fine. She's a good girl. All healed up, huh? Yes, ma'am. Let's take a little look. Yeah, we're getting there. See how those tomatoes are starting to break down? All right, in the pot they go. And in about 3 or 4 minutes, we expect those shrimp to be done. It doesn't take long. All right, let's check in on it. It's been 2 minutes. And our shrimp look like they're done. Or just about done. You don't want to overcook a shrimp. You could add chicken to this, any kind of protein, sausage like I said earlier. You could add, you could even add fish, I suppose. But the shrimp is perfect for this. All right, now I have to wait on my rice. My rice isn't quite done yet. So we'll turn the heat off and let that sit there until the rice is ready. All right, folks, the rice is ready. If you don't have a rice cooker, get one. Perfectly cooked rice every time. I'm going to serve myself up a bed of rice here, and we're going to go taste it. Oh yeah. I'm going to get every one of those shrimps. There we go. Let's dig into this. Let's get a little bit of this base with the tomatoes and onions, a little bit of rice. It's gonna be hot from the stove. I suspect it's also going to be a little bit spicy because we put that cayenne powder in there. You can skip that step if you don't like the spice. But what's a curry without a little bite to it? Yeah, that is satisfying comfort food. If you're sick, you have a cold, you're under the weather, this is like chicken soup. And you can taste the background flavor of the shrimp that cooked in there. They were in there just for a little while, but they've effused throughout the dish. You can taste that very faint background of shrimp, and that's delicious. We're going to have a shrimp with it this time. I tell you what, this is going to be a recurring dish every summer. When we have the tomatoes come in out there in the garden, this is one of my go-to recipes. I'm also going to show you some other recipes on how to use up your tomatoes. That's what I'm doing these days, is using up tomatoes more than gardening outside. It's too hot outside. And as I said in my last video, we're going to show you how to do summer pruning of our fruit trees, of our stone fruits, to stunt them and keep them small. That's coming up next week. But otherwise, there's not a lot going on out in the garden that I'm not doing much tasks. So right now it's cooking. Here's one with a Thai chili pepper, a red Thai chili pepper. Oh, I was gonna say it's more hot from the stove, but that that Thai chili pepper delayed reaction. Whew, there it is. That's a little spicy. And there are more of them hiding in there. Well, it's 100 degrees outside. It's hot in the kitchen because we just cooked. I've got a spicy dish that'll clear your nasal cavity. And with all this heat and warmth and goodness, my cold should be gone soon. Thanks for joining me today on Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. Look forward to some more cooking videos to show you how to get rid of a bunch of ripe tomatoes. And yeah, subscribe to our channel if you like our content. We mostly do gardening, but we do a lot of cooking, and I try to cook a diverse range of garden fresh dishes. So thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.